Hello everyone. So in today's tutorial, we will discuss about how we can create forms using a spreadsheet and how we can ingest data using the ingestion services provided out of box in EDS. So there are multiple ways to create form in Edge delivery services, but we will be focusing on document-based authoring only in this tutorial. So basically, in EDS for AEM form, right? It is a like composable set of services that enable a rapid development environment where authors can update, publish, and launch new forms rapidly. So you can easily create forms just using the spreadsheet. And as I mentioned, forms can be created using document-based authoring, and what you see is what you get kind of authoring. So this is basically when you're using universal editor and AEM authoring environment. So in AEM authoring environment also, like there are two ways. Either you use universal editor or you use the classic AEM form editor. Okay, but in this tutorial, as I mentioned, we will focus on only on document based authoring, like how you can create forms using a spreadsheet and peer review and publish it, and so that we get the JSON URL, and then use that URL in the in our form block. Okay. So as I mentioned, like if suppose we have to create a very simple form with just like collect basic informations with few fields, for example, like contact us forms or lead generation form or service request form, where you have like you can add some kind of dynamic behavior also in your form using like hiding, showing a field like based on selection of some field. Suppose you want to hide and show some field, or you want to do some dynamic calculation like calculating like updating the any particular field value based on two other fields value. So those kind of thing is possible, but basically it's for creating simple forms like document-based authoring. But suppose if you have a complex form like where you have multiple panels, like complex rules, business logics, like you need a lot of data manipulation, and then you also need in the integration with external system, or like you need to maybe some workflows, right? So in that case, that what you see is what you get. Kind of authoring is better, but we will discuss about all other option apart from document-based authoring in the next tutorial. Basically, I'll create a new series or playlist only where we can discuss all the other way of creating forms. And it's very simple to use this form services in document-based authoring, as you only need to know like HTML, modern CSS, and vanilla JavaScript. And if you know this, you can easily so there's out-of-box form adaptive form block is available, which you can get it from the. I'll show you in which repo. Basically, there's a AEM like we have a boiler boilerplate repo for EDS. Similarly, there's a one more uh, AEM form boilerplate repo available from where we can basically get the adaptive form block and then basically commit it in our repo. Or if you are starting from scratch, you can directly create a EDS website using AEM boilerplate form repo code. Okay. So this is overall on a very high level all the steps that are required in basically uh, creation of your form, and then your publishing and submission of form. So this basically this diagram represent like how a form can be created, how it can be published, and then like how data can be submitted to this form. So basically, first of all, content author, they create a form, right, in the spreadsheet, either in using Microsoft Excel or Google Sheet based on your type of repo that you are using. and then there's a specific steps that we need to do to basically so that it can accept the data. Basically, we need to set it up. We need to create a specific sheet. I'll be talking about when we will do it. And then once you publish it, basically, as we know, right, it will be translated to JSON, right, a spreadsheet, and the Excel translated into JSON. And then that JSON can be used inside a form block so that once you render that form page with the form block, it will basically render your form. And once user fill the information in that form and submit the data will be like ingested into the this incoming sheet. So there basically one more sheet that we need to create in that to basically receive the data. And then I'll be showing you this till this point, but then you can also basically once you have get the data in your sheet, basically you can process that data, or you can using Microsoft Power Automate or Google App Engine. Basically, you can suppose you want to run some different kind of workflow, or you have some business logic to perform, right, based on the data that you received, right, from. So that you can do, and you can use like we can also integrate using Adobe Sign or a capture. It's also basically reCAPTCHA can also be integrated so that it can be used to protect our from spam, and then like it can so that we can easily differentiate between human and bot. So like captcha functionality is also available. And once when we create, like I'll show all this in action. So when we create our form using a spreadsheet, there are some out-of-box HTML5 field which are supported. So like we can create a checkbox kind of field, date, email, file, number, text, password, select, text area, and field set. Where suppose if you want to create a repeatable section in your in a form, for example, like suppose you want to capture the previous all the employers detail for any particular employee, right? Or you want to education experience where we have like a repeatable section. For that thing you can use a field set. So I'll show all this in action in a while. And as I mentioned, we can add dynamic behaviors also to our form. Basically, we can use built-in spreadsheet function to create rules, allowing us to conditionally display or hide form fields. And we can also automate calculation based on user input or create a more dynamic user experience. So this adaptive form block, which we'll be using in this demo, right, it supports a variety of spreadsheet function that can be used to create rules. And here are some of the out-of-box function which are available, like some logical functions are available like not, and or, which basically not is basically get the reverse of what is already like. So if it is like values true, then it will return false, and if the values of a column is false, then it will return true, and basically run through. We all know this, right? And basically, like all these function, have been using it from long time, right? It's a similar what we use in Java, and like and basically, if both the condition are true, then it will return true, or it's like if one of them is true, then it will return true. So similarly, we have like conditional function available if and math function also, like, some out of box math function also available, like sum, round, min. Okay. But apart from these, like adaptive form block does not support, like there are a lot of other functions which are available in spreadsheet, but or Microsoft Excel, right? But not all the out of function are available and supported. So if we need any kind these function, right, we can develop a custom function with the similar syntax, or we can create our own function also. And process of creating a custom function is very simple. So once we get this adaptive form block, there's a function.js file available. And inside that, we just need to basically define a one function, put in the logical implementation, and then export the function. And then we can use it in the spreadsheet. Okay, so let's see all this in action. First of all, let me show you the form block that I have basically got it from this repo. Let me show you the repo. Okay, there's this AEM boilerplate form repo which is available, and here we have this block, form block. If you see, there's a form block available here. Okay, so basically you can check out the code of this repo or just download it and get this form block. Okay, and then check uh, in your code repo. Okay, and that's it. And then you just need to push this code, and then it will be available uh, to use in your project. This is one thing, but the form block comes later. First of all, we need to create a spreadsheet. Okay, so if you see, like you can create this spreadsheet anywhere. There's no rule that you need to create it inside the root folder only. If you want, you can create it inside the root folder, and if you want to create it at some other folder, that also fine. So like I created a separate directory here or folder, you can say forms, and inside that I created this contact us form. So let me open this form. So basically, to create this form, right, we need to like define different fields of the forms using each row, and the first row basically define the type of like all the fields which are, or you can say all the options which are available. Like first, this is basically when you are defining a form field, like so what should be the name, type of that field, label of that field, what should be the placeholder if you want any placeholder value, what should, if there is default value available, then what should be the default value, whether that field is mandatory or not. Okay, like that. And suppose if any field is select field, then what are the options, and options names, and option basically uh, you can directly define it here, or you can also, what you can do, you can either define in a separate sheet or separate spreadsheet, or and then publish that preview and publish that sheet and use that URL, or you can have it in a separate sheet inside this form sheet. Like I have created a new sheet here, shared country, and there also you can define option and value. And then basically, as I explained in the previous tutorial where I discussed about the spreadsheet, you can get the data of the sheet while passing the parameter like sheet equals to country, and then you can use that URL here. So I have created a separate sheet also, so I have used that. If you see, there's a separate sheet also here. So I'll show this functionality when I open the form. Okay, and then option name is basically what the name will be visible. Checked is basically for the checkbox whether you want the initial state of that checkbox be checked or not. Okay, and I'll be this visible expression, repeatable and value expression. These are all basically used uh, to add the dynamic functionality in the form. Visible is basically if is there any initial initially whether it will be visible or not, or whether it that condition is basically this visible thing is calculated using some rules. So that kind of thing you can mention here. Visible expression basically trigger this like whatever the changes needed to the initial visible condition based on some dynamic behavior, you can mention that here. So I'll be explaining this, okay? Repeatable is basically, suppose you want to, as I mentioned, a repeatable section, right? So you need to create a field set here, and then you need to mention this repeatable. Okay, and then whatever the fields that are repeating inside that section, you that field need to be defined, and then that field should use the same name as of the field set here. If you see that field set name is experience, and we are using this here. And then what you can and for the submit function or submit button, like there's some out of box message also comes if you don't provide any. And suppose if you want to redirect it to some other page, for example, if you have any thank you page, for example, I have some thank you page in my local. There's a separate repo in my local where I have created a thank you page. You can do that also, or you can create a custom message here. Okay, so first of all, basically you need to create this sheet, and then you can basically here define each and every fields of your form, and that sheet name should be shared default. So then what we need to do, I'll talk about this incoming sheet after once I show you the form. So after like creating this, right, share default, you just need to preview it and publish it. So as we know, right, uh, preview and publishing basically translate the spreadsheet into the JSON JSON data, okay, and that will be available like which can be accessed using this URL. So now our form data is available basically in the form of JSON URL. And now if you want to use it right on some page, like we need to render this as a form, right? Right now it is just a JSON representation of our form, right? Uh, and if we are open this sidekick, it basically show in the tabular form, basically for the better you can say understanding. Now, if we want to render this form on some page, so what we can do, right? We can create a page. So I created a separate page here. I'll show you. Where is this? Contact us. Okay. I have created a contact us page here. Let it open. And there's nothing in this form in this page. I created a separate section here. And I just given a title, and then as we use any other block, we have used the form block, and you just need to provide the JSON URL of our spreadsheet or the form data that we created in the previous section, right? There's this sheet that we created, and then we preview it, and then this URL basically we need to put in here. Now, if I preview and publish this page, we'll see the form. Okay, so you see, form is rendered we see the first name, last name, phone, okay, and gender. So this gender, if you remember, and there's this basic, you can say validation of the field is also present. Suppose phone I mention as a number right here. And if I put anything like some word, Even word is not even allowed. So like we have this text field. Okay. So we have all this field, like we have like if you see our form, first name, then last name, phone number as a number, then gender. It's a drop down where we have like static options. So we have like male, female, NA. We can select that. Country is a dynamic field. So uh, like I want this to be rendered from this sheet. Okay, this sheet where I have created this sheet. So if I go here, it is not working in this particular m- uh, page because I think they are keep on changing. So I think in the recent form block, it is somehow not working. Maybe once you guys use it, maybe at that particular time start working. So in this version of the AEM adaptive formula, it is not working, and there are some other issue also which I'll be explaining, which basically I'm facing in this new site. Although I didn't face this issue when I was working on some other one of my from some other site as a POC. For example, if I show you this the same thing here, uh, here. Here this thing this is coming from uh, separate sheet, like here also, like it's a dynamic in nature, it's coming from coming from this sheet. Shared country, you see, United States, India, England, Australia, Germany, so basically it's coming from there, but somehow it's working in my old site but not working in here. Okay. But I just wanted to show like it is work like how it is working, and it may work later. So they, because this product is very new, right? And then they keep on working and they keep on changing. So sometimes some things break. So don't worry about that. And basically this is the checkbox, and if I click on it, uh, it will display the email form. So there is some dynamic behavior. Like, and how I have achieved it, I think so basically if you see that there's this consent checkbox, and by default it is by default it's checked, it's false, and there's this email field which is dependent on this. So if you see the visible on the visible uh, column here, right? For email field, I used a function which basically dependent on the consent checkbox status. So basically, it checks if it is true, it will return true. If it is false, then it will return false here. And then for visible expression, we just need to mention this like this formula text J9. So whatever the formula being used here, basically it will get that formula and then show here, and basically it means, right, as soon as the consent checkbox state is changed, right, it will affect the visibility of email box, right? Okay, so that's how this dynamic behavior is aligned. You can also basically have this file upload field. Although at this particular one, even if you attach any file, right? I tried attaching like words file or the or the PDF file or Excel, even Excel sheet also, it is showing that it is it's not supported. So I'm not sure whether it's maybe it's a work in progress for in this particular form in this particular block. And this is our repeatable section, which I just mentioned. You can add any number of fields inside the section, and then that can be repeated. Okay. And I've already mentioned how we are achieving this. So basically, you need to create a field and give the name of that particular with the field set type. We need to create a field and then give some name. And this is a label, and we need to mention this repeatable to true here. And whatever fields that you want inside that field set or the section, repeatable section, that number of field you want to add, you can add here. And then we need to use the same name of the field set here. So that's how it is coming. And suppose you want to control the minimum or maximum number of like how many times it can be repeated or right. So that also is possible. You can give max. You can create a new column here, max, and then give value of in for this particular field, right? Employment history like 5 or 6, something like that. So that is also possible. And that's how the form is rendered. And now what happens once you basically submit the data inside form? For example, let me aim made, give me some number. Okay. Basically, once you submit it right now, it is giving this error because it is started coming recently only, and it's coming to everybody. Like I've checked with other people also, and they are also facing the same thing. Basically, it's a problem in the new adaptive form block. But what happens, right, when you submit it, and if you want to receive this data, you need to create an incoming sheet inside your spreadsheet. Okay, and name should be incoming also, otherwise it will not work. And then you need to basically have all your whatever the fields which you have in your form, that should be basically each field should be available as a column. And then and this thing you can either do it manually, or there's like admin API available that basically can help you to set this particular sheet. Okay. So basically once you do that, right, uh, you can receive all the data in your sheet. And basically it may take some time, as we seen in the like when we uh, show the how index was created, like index data was received as soon as we publish any file in the sheet. A similar thing, like it also took some time. The same kind of time can be taken here by the EDS, sometime less, sometime more. So I can show you this thing, maybe the submission thing using my other site form. So maybe I can give some name here, right? Or maybe some other John Day. Uh, and some default validation is also present. For example, I was mentioning, right? Suppose I just use this E, right? So it will mention, okay, specify the value in allowed format. And if any field is mandatory, I'm not sure whether it's mandatory or not. It will not be if any field is mandatory, right? If you don't provide value, it will not allow you to submit the form. Okay, well, I'll just put some dummy data. Okay, If I submit it, okay, actually I have not added the URL properly. That's why it has not redirected. But that's not an issue. You can easily basically redirect to some other this page. It is basically coming as a message, but it can be it normally redirects. Okay, and we should see our data. So you can see the data is here, right, in the incoming sheet. Like whatever the fields that I mentioned, it's all here. So that's how basically you can receive this data, and then based on your requirement, we can you can work on this data, and you can write whatever the business logic that you want to perform based on this data that we can it can be integrated with other systems, right? And it can be different kind of workflows can be run on this. So that's how you receive the data. And now coming to the other dynamic behavior of the form, right? Suppose uh, e- as I mentioned while discussing the PPT, right? You want to like hide and show. I think I already shown, right? But let me show you one more form I just created for this purpose, where like I can show you the all the like different kind of rules or like where I've used this functions or out of box function and the custom function as well. So there's this form, right? Where let me open the page also once. So let me show you how it is rendering initially, and then trip form. Okay, this is the page. So here the same thing, like I've used the same block. Let me open this page and let me show you the first default look of the form. So if you see, first we see the start date, end date, destination, room budget, estimated email, first name, last name. There's a submit button is not visible. Similarly, if you see, there are some other fields also, like full name. If you see this full name field, okay, and that full name field is not visible as of now. And yeah, so I have this field start date, end date, and I have some static to select the destination. Then I have a budget. And this estimated trip cost, right? It's a dynamic, it has some dynamic functionality here. Like based on your date, right? Start date and end date. Basically, if suppose there you are going for 2 days, right? And what it'll do, it automatically calculate your estimated trip cost based on the number of days that you are going, taking for your trip into whatever the room budget you are selecting here. So I'll show you here. For example, let's select the current date and suppose I will be coming back on 18. So it's like 2 days trip and my you can see it's previously it was 0 now it is 2 suppose but my room budget is maybe like for maybe 1800 so automatically it is calculating it based on the formula that happened. So basically how I have done it like I use this in the value section in the values column of the that estimated trip cost. I use the formula like F5, right? Value of this budget field into there's this function available out of box days, which basically calculate based on the 2 days. If you provide 2 date, then it will automatically calculate the days between those 2 dates. So I am basically providing F3 and F2 means start date and end date and start date and It's basically calculating that, and here basically in the value expression you need to mention this formula text F6. So that's how you can calculate, basically apply some rules or dynamic behavior to automatically calculate a value of some particular field. And suppose now if I add any email right here, I'll show you other things also. If I provide first name like if you see as I there was this one more field confirm email which was hidden. So as soon as you mention uh, something in the email field, it automatically open the confirm email field. And the same kind of thing I used here, which I use for that checkbox, right? Consent checkbox. So like email, confirm email field, initially it is basically hidden, or basically it is checking if here I'm using this logical function of the spreadsheet instead of using uh, uh, the previous way which I used for the consent checkbox. Here I'm checking if this field is empty, right? Email field is empty. If it is true, then basically not, then for basically return the false, so that that file field will be hidden. If it is not empty, means then it means that is it is not empty, means this particular section is false. So return the true opposite, like not means opposite true, so that this field will be visible. Okay. And as soon as one more thing I want to, as soon as you provide something in the first name, and if you see submit button is also visible now, because what I before I explain the first name last name, so in the submit button also I written this rule here. So in the visible section I mention if all the mandatory fields, if those are visible, right, then only show the submit button. So like F2 is my start date, F3 is my basically end date, and F7 is my email. Like all these are were mandatory. I written a rule, if all these basically return, all these are true, then only my or all these are filled, then only basically display my submit button. So that's how the submit button is visible now. If basically if I refresh it, you'll see that submit button was not visible initially, and as soon as I provided the this start date, end date, okay, even to right now it is not. You need to provide email also. So am@gmail.com. Now it is visible. Okay, and this is one more thing, right? Steve Smith. So the full name field was hidden. For hidden, I use the same logic, and you can see it is now uh, calculated using first name and last name field, right? Basically, we concatenated the first name, last name, and then put it here. And how we are using this? If you see for the full name field, the value is basically we are using this custom function where we are passing the these two, like first name, last name, as an argument, and then we are getting the value from this particular function. So as I mentioned in the form block, there's this function.js file where we can write our custom function. So this is the custom function which I have written, but now it is available out of box also, this function. Okay, if you see the latest adaptive form block, this function is available out of box as well. So basically, you just need to write this function here and then export it, and then you can use that in your spreadsheet as I used here. And this is custom function. That's why you will see here like a known function, because this is function is non-known to spreadsheet. We have written it in a cust in like in our function file. Like, so this is a custom function, that's why this error is you can see here. So that's how basically you can add dynamic behavior also in your forms. And this is how you can use basically a form in a document based authoring. Hope you like this video, and if yes, please do like, share, and subscribe my channel. Thank you.